Hi YouTube, my name is Jill, and in case you haven't noticed, I am brand spanking new to this YouTube thing. Long time admirer, short time actual doer. And if you've clicked on this video, first of all, thank you. Second of all, this is makeup perfect to wear to the vet. There is no real reason as to why it's called makeup perfect for going to the vet. It just so happened that I did my makeup like this yesterday, kind of digged it, and I also went to the vet. Sorry for making you click. I'm sorry, I'm a bad person. Clickbait. One of those. Anywho, if you would like to learn how I did this eyeshadow, please keep watching. See if you like it. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. And then maybe I can learn some things from you, the YouTube community. But yes, okay.
Okay, so first things first, do some very weird things with your primer. I'm actually using the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. I really do like this primer. It gives my skin a lot of luminosity, and because my skin is super dry, I fiend anything that gives it that little extra bit of something. The foundation that I'm using is the Mercier Candleglow Soft Luminous Foundation in the shade Linen. I love the feel of this foundation. I definitely would not recommend it if you are looking for something that's a little bit more fuller coverage. The foundation itself is a sheer to medium coverage foundation, and I find that I'm applying about 10 pumps just to get the coverage that I want, and we all know we like that little bit of extra. I like it very full coverage, which is a shame because I love the feel of it. It doesn't grab onto my dry spots, which is a huge issue for me. And free, I've forgotten how it felt. Next, you're going to want to prime your eyelids for putting shadow on. You could use any primer that you wanted to. I'm using the MAC Pro Longwear Paint Pot in the shade Painterly. Soft Ochre is another really popular shade as well. I like to set it once I've put it on with a translucent powder or any kind of highlight powder. Something matte with no shimmer in it. Next, I'm going in with Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz in soft brown. I like to comb out my brows before doing anything or putting any product on them. This is because my eyebrow hairs are so crazy. They go in every single direction and they're not exactly even, but I'm working on it. The also other great thing I like about the Brow Wiz is that it's very easy to smudge away if you go outside where you want to put it. After I'm done with Brow Wiz, I like to go in with Benefit's Gimme Brow. I'm using the lighter shade today, but I'll either, depending on what color I want my eyebrows to be, I'll either use the lighter or the darker shade. I like to go over my work, so to speak, just to make sure all my brows are mostly in the right direction and to try and give them the shape that I want them to have. But in general, my brow game is not that strong, and it's something that I am working on. Next, I'm going in with the Mercier Artist Palette, and I'm using the shade Fresco, just as a light transition shade. I'm putting that into the crease, into my natural crease, and I'm sweeping it on in windshield wiper motions and also doing some swirls here and there, just to kind of blend it out. I like to give myself just a basic rough shape of what I want the eyeshadow to look like before continuing with the darker colors, just because it goes from 0 to 100 real damn quick if you're not careful. You could use any fluffy brush to do this part. I like using a fluffy brush just because the application and the amount of product that you put on your eyes is definitely not as overwhelming. Again, you definitely don't want to overwhelm yourself or just coming right out of the gates. The brush that I'm using is from Spectrum Collections. The next brush that I'm going to be using for this next part is QWO. If you're in Canada, you get it from Shoppers Drug Mart. It's really dense bristles packed together. Anyways, I'm going back into that palette using the shade Truffle, which is a darker, richer, chocolatey brown. And I'm just using that to, again, kind of carve out where and kind of go into that outline that I had made before with my transition shade. Another thing that I like to do is I like to flick out my eyeshadow just a little bit, and eventually that's where my eyeliner will go. It will go right under that little flick, and I like to do that because I feel like it gives it a bit more of a cleaner edge without having to use tape, although you could also use tape as well. But again, it's just kind of like a rough little outline that I like to do. Once you have your little outline made, I like to add a teensy bit more product, and then I like to blend it out with that little brush. Again, it's a very compact brush, so keeping it within the same kind of square footage, if you will, I like to blend it out there, and I just keep blending until it's more of a cohesive shape. It's not looking as much of a stark line. Oh, and I've just bumped my camera. That's okay. But as you can see, I've been blending out this shadow so it looks more of a cohesive shape as opposed to a stark line. Next, I'm going in with Anastasia Beverly Hills in Sienna. This is the first time I've actually bought an eyeshadow from Anastasia Beverly Hills, because if you are Canadian, then you know the struggles of ordering anything online from the States and getting whacked with duties. So they have them in Sephora here now, so I thought I would jump on that little bandwagon. So I'm darkening up that crease right now. I'm using a MAC 217 brush. It's probably my favorite brush of all goddamn time. A fluffy brush is really key to being able to do any kind of smoky eye look. It just makes everything so much easier, much less overwhelming. And I figured out that I got much better at doing my own makeup once I invested in a fluffier brush. Now I'm going back in with Blaze with that smaller, more precision brush from MAC. What I'm doing is as I'm layering it outside on that outer third just to give my eyes some more depth, so that looks like my sockets are more deep set, so to speak. So I'm concentrating it outside on that outer third, and then once most of the product is off of the brush, I bring it back forward onto the first 2/3 of my eye, just to give it more of a cohesive look, to blend it out, but without adding as much depth to that inner area. On my lid, I'm packing on orange soda, and if you wanted this to be a much brighter orange, you could layer on a white cream. I have a Too Faced shadow stick that's white, and if I really want my lid color to kind of pop out, I like to go in with that first. The last thing that I like to do with my eyeshadow is I like to go back in with my 217 brush just to blend out any areas in my crease that may not look as blended in. You definitely do not want it to look choppy. Definitely what you do not want. Okay, so we're gonna leave our eyes for a hot minute, and we're gonna go and focus in on the skin. I'm using the Urban Decay Naked Concealer. I really like this concealer. I find that it does not grab my dry patches, as per usual, is my #1 requirement of concealer. And I'm just going in and using one pump of the product, and I split that between one eye and then the other, and then blend it out with a beauty blender. I like to set my under eyes with the Ambient lighting palette from Hourglass. I learned this tip from Jaclyn Hill. Oh, she's so amazing. I have the biggest girl crush on her. But anywho, I just use a little bit, just a smidgen, not too much. You don't want to look like your complete under eye is glowing. You don't want to look like a deer in headlights, literally. But once you've set your under eye, I like to go back in and put a little bit of shadow underneath on my lash line, just to make my eye look a smidgen bit bigger. So I'm going back in with the orange soda first, and then I'm going back in with the Sienna, just a little bit, give it a little depth, you know, make yourself look cute. Okay, as if that was not exhausting enough, we are not even done yet. Imagine that. Okay. So to continue on, I'm going to use the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil in medium deep, I think. It's the darkest shade. But I like to use this to darken up my pale ass face before I go in with any contour, because I feel like it helps everything blend a lot more easily. I spend a lot of time blending this part out, maybe even more so than my contour, which is perhaps a cardinal sin. I have no idea. But I really like to blend this shit out, because I find that if you don't blend it right into your hairline and really make it one with your skin, it's a lot easier to tell that you've put on bronzer on top of your face, and it makes it look like you really have just slapped some stuff on to make your face darker. I also really like to go in and do the same thing with my temples. Again, really, really blending it in, kind of getting that pre-contour sculpt going on. Now that you've adequately given yourself carpal tunnel from blending, we're finally going to pick up our contour kit. Yay! Okay, I'm going in with the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. I'm using the 2 lightest shades of the contour just to follow my natural cheekbone line. You can really just go in and feel where your cheekbones kind of sink in, and along there I like to draw an imaginary 2-inch line. You don't want to be bringing this down to your mouth by any means, so just put it in a little line there and then blend it out. And then next I like to go in with the corresponding lighter shades from the 2. I'll either mix the banana one and the lighter one, or you know, see what I'm feeling. And I like to pat it underneath where I've put my contour just to make the line a little bit sharper if I've started to look muddy. And I also like to put it up on top of my cheekbones as well, just to really make sure that my cheekbone is poppin'. And once you've done that, just blend it all out with a fluffy brush. Again, I'm using my beloved Spectrum Collections one. And oh, get some hair in your face, girl. You're not doing it right if you don't do that. Next, I'm going in with ColourPop's Prenup, and I'm using that just with my little wee fingers and putting that onto my cheeks just to give myself a little bit of a rosy flush. And then, oh, we got a party crasher. We've got Mama Linda on the scene. Too funny. Yes, yes. On with our day. Okay, now for the good stuff. Now I'm using my Becca highlighter in Moonstone with a fan brush. I like to smile, and to say this nicely, pretend like your brush is a dump truck and dump it all over the high points of your face. I am maybe kidding. I probably go in quite heavy-handedly with the highlighter. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. But yes, anyways, so I put it on the high points of my cheekbones. I like to go in with my fingers, put it on over the bridge of my nose, a little bit, do my little Rudolph spot. I also like to put it on my Cupid's bow as well. And then if I'm feeling extra fancy, just go in with my fingers and use it on the high points of my brow bone as well. It really feels like I've been working on this tutorial forever. So yes, but the end is near, I promise. I pinky promise. The lip liner that I'm using is the Mercier, and I believe the shade is Chestnut. I'm using that to just overline my lips just a smidge. And then so I align them all, and then I'm gonna fill that all in. Next, I'm going in with NYX Cosmetics Liquid Suede Lipstick. I can't for the life of me remember the shade color. I really should write all these down, but I just got no time right now. Anyways, it's a similar shade to my lip liner, and I'm just plopping that on within the lines. You should know how to color. I'm sure you did coloring as a kid. You can get it within the lines of your lip liner. I'm going in with the Kat Von D Tattoo Liner in Trooper, and I think doing eyeliner on YouTube or while you're filming is probably the most stressful thing I've ever done in my life. And I'm sure most of you know already that doing your eyeliner anyways is always a struggle. You never know if you're going to mess up. You never know if you're going to do it too thick. You never know if it's going to be too thin and then you try and make it too thick and then it's a bad situation. So bear with me as I struggle with this. Okay, so now that you've struggled enough with your eyeliner, time for some eyelashes. I love these Velour lashes. They give me a smidgen of a headache right now just because they're so expensive, and every single time that I put them on, I end up losing them. I've gone through about 4 pairs of the Fluffin Wispies. I think that's what the Fluffin Wispy or something like that. Anyways, I love them, but I just don't seem to be having the best luck with keeping track of them. So I'm just going in and giving my eyelashes a couple coats of mascara just to darken them up so they're the same color as the eyelashes. Today I'm using the Trust Me Try It from Velour. I love these ones. They are so pretty. I love them, I love them. Okay, so put a little bit of eyelash glue, work on it, practice, cut your eyelash strips to fit your eye. And cut them from the right place too. Don't cut them from the inner corner. Cut them from the outer corner, or else you're gonna end up doing some silly stuff.
To go over everything.
Okay, and that should be about it. Once you've put your eyelashes on and you can continue to struggle with your eyelashes, you know, do what feels right.
Dreaming about who we used to be when we were younger.
Okay, folks, and I think that should be it. If I'm still not struggling with my eyelashes, leave me a comment down below if you have any tips or tricks for doing this editing thing and for, you know, just general makeup stuff, YouTube stuff, you know. Okay, thanks!